I'm gonna call Erica. What? See if she has any new leads.
Mm-hmm. Try and remember why you're calling.
Come on, bro. I always keep it professional.
Yeah, right.
Hey, what's up? It's me.
Now, you know you can't be jamming me up when I'm on the clock.
Yeah, I know, but I just need to see if you got anything new for me. I mean, we got the whole place wired up, cameras inside and out.
Damn. And I'll call you if something hot comes up.
You promise?
Promise. Bye.
Bye. What?
What'd she say?
That she still got a sexy-ass voice.
Now get your ass in here, man.
I don't give a fuck about you. I just want the girl.
Shut up and put it down. Pin him down.
Sorry for the theatrics, kid. Body armor.
I'm just glad to be out.
How long you got?
Been up for 12 years. I only got 6 months to go.
Yeah? You want someone else I know?
We came in at the same time.
I'm not lying. A woman and her daughter need help. Shut up! We're surrounded and we need an evac. Take this and shoot him back! I can't. Do it, Jesus freak!
Transmission's messy. We drafted 2x2. Noise floor is high.
Commander, anomaly does not seem to have...
Coordinates received. Commander, the party orders are to cease the investigation and eliminate the anomaly. Plan. Raven 1, weapons free. Sending your location now. Over.
Roger, Command. Strike inbound to 10.
Farmer, bro. What's he still get from me now?
Can't explain it.
Well, thank you for joining us on the Downing Cut. Today, my next guest is a versatile actor with a commanding on-screen presence, seamlessly balancing charm, intensity, and leadership. A former rugby player and Army ROTC cadet with extensive martial arts training, he fully transforms every role, both mentally and physically, bringing a captivating authenticity to his performances. Please welcome Curtis McGann to the Downing Cut. Thanks for joining me, Curtis. How are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
We know each other. We've crossed paths, but I feel like, now you said before we started, you felt like we hung out like 15 years ago. I don't mean, I know your wife. I've met your wife. I don't think I've ever acted with your wife. I know I've acted with you. No, let me rephrase that. We've acted in the same project.
Yeah.
I don't think we've acted together. And I think, yeah, it was.
And that's what it was. However many years ago that was, like in the early days.
Yeah. But I mean, it's great to have you on. It's great to get to know you. I feel like if truly know you and have this time to just uninterrupted and just get to know each other. I'd like to ask this to everybody. I really want to know, and this is part of things that I've had a lot of actors on here, and I don't know how they started. I don't know what got them interested. So I'd like to ask you, like, what started you on this journey, this path?
Well, I started doing dramas at church when I was a little kid. Just like I'm a sheep or a tree. And so that was always fun. And then when I was in high school, I had some friends who were, one of my friends was really into making films and videos, and he was starting to learn a lot about VFX and just like different things. That's also when the Blair Witch Project came out. And so one of my other friends had a gorilla costume. And so we would go out in the woods and we would film Blair Witch videos. And so that kind of just started that, like, oh, this is fun. This is, it's enjoyable. And so then in high school, I was doing dramas. I did a play in high school. After that, I didn't really think of it as a career option or as of anything other than fun, until I moved to Seattle. And then I had done almost every job you could think of. I mean, I was a personal trainer. I drove an armored car. I did security. I what else did I do? I did sales, sold insurance. Like, I mean, pretty much anything you could think of, I did those jobs. And none of them I could actually see myself doing for the long term. So I'm like, well, I need to do something that sparks my creativity, that gives me that satisfies that creative part of me. And so I started finding like student films and just other free projects, and really started diving in, started doing those. And then um, the more I was doing them, the more I was enjoying it, the more I was learning and growing, and got an agency, and then started getting submitted to commercial work and saying, oh, okay, I can actually make a living doing this. I can make money doing this. And eventually it got to the point where I was making more in acting than I was at my full-time job. And I would have to turn down work for my full-time job to, no, excuse me, I'd have to turn down acting work because I had a full-time job. And so that's when my wife and I were like, okay, maybe it's time to, take the leap and see where God takes you. And that was a decade ago. Um, yeah, and it's been an incredible journey ever since.
What? Let me ask you this: what is it like? It sounds like you've had a lot of life experience in doing different careers and different jobs and things. I mean, obviously that's going to help you as an actor as well. But did you ever enroll in courses and classes and stuff and training?
For acting?
Yeah.
I did a little bit. I did some classes here in Seattle when I first started, and then when I moved to LA, I did a couple of classes. But for me personally, I've never been a school person or like a class person, and it didn't give me what I needed. What I felt better of is just doing it. So going out and doing free projects and things where I could like learn on hand while doing things. I would also go and watch people or I'll watch movies. And when I'm watching movies, now I'm not just watching the movie and be like, man, this is a really good story. This is cool. I'm not watching what the actor's doing. And I'm like, oh, why did they emote that way? Or what was going on here? And, why were their eyes just focused in and weren't doing all these facial movements and stuff. And so I started studying a lot on my own and studying in different ways than necessarily a school would.
That's awesome, and that's a true testament for the audience members who may are getting into acting or want to kind of see they would be in the arena. That everybody has different paths, different ways to get into the acting realm. You don't necessarily need to do ABC. You can do EFG, whatever works for you. And I think that's important to recognize. So let me ask you this. So you've won awards for your performances. What do you think makes a performance truly stand out to audiences and critics? Like what makes a good actor exceptional from the rest?
For me, I think it's just believability. Like if somebody can see themselves in your situation and they would say, oh man, yeah, I would do that too if I was there. Or I understand what this person's going through because they don't look like they're trying to fake it on the way through there. It's actually just we're watching their slice of life, and this slice of life just happens to be insanely interesting. And so I think if we're able to just catch people in, I don't remember who said it. Somebody said, don't let them catch you acting. And so if you're able to just be and exist in the world, I feel like that's what really sells the roles and the performance.
What caused you to move to LA?
I love Southern California. Southern California has always just drawn me to it. I love the ocean. I love the beach. And naturally, that's where, everything was. It's the hub of film. It was the hub of all of it. And then once I was there, what really drew me to stay there and what really drew me to want to be there is there was this energy inside of LA that I didn't feel anywhere else. It's something that everywhere you go, you would meet somebody else who was creating or somebody else who was in the industry and doing something or trying something. And for me, it was really inspiring. And I really enjoyed that inspiration and that vibe and that life that I got and felt in Los Angeles. And so, going there for fun, or starting to try to submit there and see what, what we can do and whatnot, then it was really like, okay, this is somewhere I want to be, and this is somewhere I think that would be an incredible journey to go to.
What caused you to come back?
So at first, when we first moved down, I told my wife, I said, I'm never going back to Seattle. I said I would never move back to Seattle. But here I am.
Yeah.
And we were down there, and everything was great. We were doing well. We started booking TV shows, movies. We were getting relationships with casting directors, and our careers were actually like starting to move forward in a trajectory. But it was funny because I was actually the first person to say this. We have a home here in Seattle, and we were looking to sell our home and purchase something in LA, which in LA, it's even worse than Seattle. You would have bought a tiny, tiny 1-bedroom house that needed to be completely redone for like $900,000. And so that was a part of a drawback. But what really led us to come back is my wife felt like she saw her dad, who is agnostic. She felt like she saw her dad coming to know Christ. And I felt like God putting it on my heart saying, is LA really your forever home? Is this really where you're supposed to be forever? And there was that heart voice and that voice in my mind where my mind, I wanted to stay there. I wanted to be there. LA was it for me. I love Southern California. It's my vibe. It's my people. And I kept getting that pull on me like, no, this maybe is not where you're supposed to be forever. And so I finally told that to my wife. I finally told it to Kelsey. I said, I don't know if LA is supposed to be where we're at for the rest of our lives. And it started kind of just snowballing there. People in our church were praying for us. We had a really good community group there, and we really just felt led to come back here and start doing things here and start really trying to witness to her dad as well.
Wow, that's pretty powerful. A lot of people, and I've seen some things in God Keep that we'll talk about, but it is that real life scenario of like you have your family life and then you have your work. It's like, what choices do you make? What's the most important thing? And there's a saying that says, "Work to live, but not live to work."
Mm-hmm.
And it's that balance and trying to find it. So that's, I think, I would say that from a stereotypical knowledge, I think most people would push into the career. They would try to ignore the spiritual side or the intuition side and just go, you know what? It's all about money, 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 right? Or fame, 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 or success, success, whatever that looks like to people. And it's fascinating to me that you guys chose to kind of turn that around and go for the spirituality of things when it comes to what really matters, And it is about priorities. And plus, I know you have 2 kids.
Yep.
And I think was LA good for kids as well?
So when we were in LA, we only had 1 kid. The second one we had when we moved back, but it was harder for him or for us with him just because we didn't have the family. We did have an incredible friend group, and I still have some of my best friends down there, which is kind of wild. It's friends that I grew up with since I was little in elementary school, and we all ended up out in LA and in entertainment. And so I'm still very close with them, and they were our family when we were there. They would watch our son when we had to go to auditions or had to go film. They would help out, and so we had an incredible community. But there was something that we just felt was missing, and so it's definitely not impossible and definitely not too hard to do, but we just felt like, and I think it's my wife grew up with her family all around, very close with her family, her cousins right down the street. Like right now we are within, I think, 10 minutes from 8 of her different cousins. So yeah, so we're all very close. Although we don't see each other all the time, but it's just, I think having that family and having that life around it meant a lot. And also too, I think it was a little bit early. He had when we were there, our son was starting school. And so he had started in kindergarten. I think in school you start making a lot more friendships. You have a lot more of those things, but we ended up having to keep pulling him out of school because we would come up to Seattle to film. And so we were filming in both places, and so we ended up homeschooling him, and now we still homeschool him. But yeah, the life trajectories are funny.
Yeah, definitely. What do you ever foresee yourself going back to LA?
I would love to go back to LA. But I think it would have to be either somebody just gives me a house or a place to stay or something. Or what I would ideally do is be able to work in both markets, which what I kind of do right now. My wife and I kind of do that right now. She's flying down in the end of the month to film down there, and we have a team of people that we create with down there. I have a series that I'm making in LA, and that's separate from the team that we create with as well. So we still have a lot of things that are going on down there, and I think the eventual path will lead us to be able to continue to work in both areas, and maybe even more so, more time in California. I'd be happy with that too.
Yeah. So I think you're kind of living the dream. There's a lot of people, such as myself, who have a full-time job, but we want to create full-time. Like what kind of maneuvering or steps did you take to actually go full-time into the creative field?
Jump and hope that the net will appear. And I mean, basically, like the problem with gig working is that you never know where your next check is coming from. You never know if you're going to get paid. There'll be months where I go without working, and then there'll be months where it's you're working every weekend or every week or multiple jobs in a week. And so I've seen that that kind of up and down throughout the whole time that I've been in a full-time creative position. And there's been a lot of times where I'm sitting there and I'm stressed out, and I'm now on Indeed and I'm like, nope, I'm going to find a job. I need another job. This is not working. And I almost always feel that God's telling me, I'll start praying too. And I feel like God's telling me, nope, I have you here for a reason, and I will provide for you. And so it's been an incredibly faith building journey, because before I was always, oh, I need to do this. I need to stack all these things together to make money. And I need to make as much money as I can. And the funny thing is, I made somehow was less fortunate, or less, I had less provisions than I do now. And God is entirely over that, I feel like. And He keeps providing those. And so one of the ways that I saw needed to happen was, I said, okay, well, acting may not be always able to provide all the finances that we need. And which would be wonderful if it did, which would be wonderful if I had some big Netflix show or something, and they, making millions from that, and they could just provide everything that we need. But I felt like I need to start diversifying a little bit and going outside of just acting. And so we started creating more. We did a short film. We did a short film with a buddy in LA, and that buddy's on a couple TV shows. He's on one of the top TV shows on BET called Zatima. So it's our buddy Cam, and we met him when we were first in LA, and we said, okay, let's make something together. Let's do something. And so 8 years later, we finally did it, and it got to LA Shorts. We premiered it at LA Shorts. It did really well, and it's now kicked off a trajectory of something with us. We're continuing to make more stuff. We are actually trying to bring one of those projects up here to Seattle, film it up here, and trying to do more of those things that we can start expanding and combining those two. And eventually, hasn't yet, but eventually we're hoping that those will also start making money, and we'll be able to get, good funding to make a big feature and, pay all of us and do all the things in that. And one of the other things that started doing is, so another friend that I had in LA, we had came up with this idea about 2 years ago, was to create a series, YouTube series, because he's a big YouTuber and has multiple YouTube channels. And so we decided to create a series that would be glorifying to God, be interesting, be narrative, so be able to do all the things that we like to do, and try to use that to be a source of income as well. And so we first started that. It filmed a couple episodes, and we're like, okay, we're not ready for this. And then, in last summer, around August or something, I really started feeling that desire again to keep expanding out and keep doing more things. And almost at the exact same time, he texts me and says, hey, I think we should really go back to this idea that we had. I think we should really push in and start making the God Keep. And so in October, we started doing that. And we just got our channel monetized. We now have over 2,000 subscribers. We're making at least 2 films every single week. And and so we're continuing to push, continuing to grow, and continuing to see where it's leading us, and we know what God can do with it and what he's kind of leading there. And we know that eventually that will be a good source as well.
That's awesome. Congratulations that it took off so fast, because I know that's rare. We definitely is a miracle. What was the film that you showed at Holly Shorts?
The LA Shorts it's called
LA Shorts.
Yeah, no worries. It was called Runaway.
Runaway.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't think I sent you the link to Runaway, but it's actually on Film Freeway. If you look up Runaway on Film Freeway, you'll be able to find it there.
So your roles often showcase intense physicality and deep emotional layers. How do you mentally and physically prepare for such demanding characters?
I just enjoy it. I think it's a release. It's something where you don't have to fit into this box of things. You can just do whatever. I also really enjoy physical roles. Like I grew up doing martial arts. I still like to do martial arts. And so being able to do fight scenes in movies to me is so much fun. Last year, I got the insanely rare opportunity to lead a feature film. It's an action feature film. And there's a Ukrainian film director who was an Academy Award winner in Ukraine. Because of the war, he came over and made a movie here, and it's an action film. And he wanted me as the lead of that film. And so for about 7 months last year, we filmed that, and I got to do all of my own stunts, all of the fight scenes. I was in a waterfall. I was in Buried Alive, all these different things. And so to mentally prepare for those, I think I'm just a little bit mentally off, probably because I just enjoy that stuff. I don't think I feel physical pain the same way a lot of people do.
I'm assuming you're SAG.
I am SAG FICOR.
Okay. Because I was wondering about the stunts and stuff, because I had Philip Wheeler in my film, and he's Union SAG, and literally a list of things he could not do, not even drive a car. And I was like, what? You can't even drive a car?
Yep.
I couldn't. And I remember seeing behind the scenes of some of the stuff you were doing, jumping in rivers, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? That's great though. You play both heroes and villains. Do you have a preference, and what are the unique challenges that come with both roles?
Actually, I really enjoy playing the villain, because when you play the villain, you kind of have this freedom to do whatever you want. People will expect a little bit of a villain, but you can also be eccentric, or you can be whatever it may be, and it's totally acceptable. Whereas a hero typically has to stay within more of a box of, these certain check marks and whatnot. I think we're moving away from that a little bit more and more, and we're expanding those visions, which is nice. But, I think those are the challenges that come with each is, finding what makes sense for a villain role, or what would be able to be played and be able to be seen as realistic, as well as in the hero role, being able to have those eccentric pieces of you, but kind of, put a little bit more in place, a little bit cleaner versions of those things.
Do you have how do you walk away from playing an antagonist?
So
Is it hard for you?
No, I've never really been the type that goes, I'm not method. And so I'm able to, punch somebody in the face and scream at them, or have them punch me in the face. And then I get up and I give them a hug, and we'll go and walk in, and we'll eat together, or whatever it is. And so for me, that's always been part of the fun as well, is being able to just switch into that and then switch out of it. I don't really know why or how. I think it's just the way that my brain works. And there's definitely some where, I mean, you play an intense role all day and you're angry all day or you're fighting all day. There's definitely some that comes home sometimes, but my wife understands, and which was nice. She'd say, "Hey, you're bringing that home. You need to chill out a little bit." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you're right. My bad."
Now your wife's an actor as well, actress Kelsey. We have to have her on the show. What do you guys? And I know you guys. I've seen you guys both in the same film. They've both written, produced, directed, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work out? Working with your spouse in those type of arenas?
It's great. It's actually really nice to be able to work together and to be able to have somebody who understands the industry, understands what it takes, understands the type of work that you have to put in, because it is so different than a corporate job where, you know, you go for the day and then you come back home and typically your work's done, or you're bringing some home with you. But, you know, now we're running scripts all day, or, you know, we can run scripts together. We can do auditions together, which is nice. And so not only that, she's also a creator and has the same kind of mindset that I do of, well, if we want to be able to play a role, then we can just write that role, or we can make the film that has that role. And so, excuse me, she actually wrote a feature film that we shot right before I started the action film. I wrapped it a day before, and then I started the action film the next day.
Wow.
But so she wrote this feature film that she felt like God gave her the story, and she wrote it all out, and she said, "Hey, I want to make this film." I said, "All right, let's do it." You know, and we went to work. We did everything for it that we could. We built the props. We found the locations. Our church was actually incredibly helpful in that and let us use their building for majority of the filming, which we were actually able to make it look like, how many different locations do we have? I think it was like 5 or 6 different locations within the church. We had it as a nice apartment. We had it as a church. We had it as a like a Section 8 apartment. We had it as a hospital room, a children's room, and being able to see that and see how we can rebuild these rooms and shape these rooms so that way we can get the most out of it was a ton of fun. It was a lot of work, and a lot went into it, but you know, we've received distribution for that movie. Now we're working on getting through there and everything that comes with that. So
Wow, it's turning out you guys are running a full production company. Basically, it's to be able to get distribution, produce, write, direct, act. You know, the whole 9 yards. What is that something that you enjoy? Kind of the behind the scenes as well.
I'm enjoying it more and more. I think I wanted to learn more and more about it as well, and more do different things. And actually, one of my buddies that was on our feature film, he brought me in to do crew for a commercial that he was working on, and so I was doing grip work, and then it was also running sound. And you know, actually, I really enjoy it. I enjoy the work that goes behind it. We're crafting things, we're creating things, we're making it look a certain way, and then as far as all the production work that goes in with creating something, like creating a feature film, or now with my series, I'm constantly producing. Right before we jumped on this call, I was on a table read phone call for something that we're going to shoot this weekend. And before that, I was writing the scripts for those things as well. And so being able to expand my knowledge within the industry has been, I think, not just a lot of fun, but it's been very helpful for everything. Because now when I go on to set, you know, I'll look at things a different way, or I'll understand things a different way. Even so, as far as much down into the edit, you know, with editing, or you're looking at different edits and things. Now I may be able to understand, oh, I shouldn't yell as loud because it might spike my microphone. So I'm going to tell, you know, my sound guy first, hey, I'm about to yell, and I'm going to yell this loud. So, you know, they'll get prepared on their end. Different little things that you just kind of learn and can bring those into all the different aspects. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
What has been the most transformative role that you've ever taken on, and how did it change you as an artist or person?
That's a good question. I think the role that I got to transform the most on film from what I had typically done on film, at least, was in Runaway. And that's where my buddy Cam and I played former military who were taking down human traffickers. And so that one I got to just play in a different arena and a different mindset, a different way of looking at a character and what that character would do in a certain situation. And, you know, it was really nice as I had a very good director too, who would help guide me through those things and make sure that we're hitting everything that we need to hit, that the story's staying well-rounded, and that we're playing all the roles and doing all those sides. So that one was one. And then the feature film, actually the action feature film, was one that I feel like transformed me as an actor and as a performer, because one of the things that was challenging at first was the director didn't speak any English. He only spoke Ukrainian, and so Ukrainian and Russian. And I had translators, and I had people on set, and I had people that would help and, you know, talk to me and tell me everything. But one of the things I did is I asked God, I said, hey, look, this is going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wild, but help me to understand so that way we can make sure that we're making this. And there would be times where the director was speaking to me or somebody else was speaking to me in a language that I don't speak, and I fully understood what they were saying. Not necessarily I could translate it, but I would understand exactly what was being asked. And that happened more and more and more. And it became incredible. And it became something that it helped me also be able to slow down even more in the in-between moments, and to listen more, to listen better, to add in all of the different elements of listening as well. Not just what are you saying? You know, I was able to listen of what are you saying with what is your body saying? What are your eyes saying when you're speaking these things to me? And, you know, what are you gesturing to? All of these different things that would go into crafting how we speak. And I feel like that helped me outside of being a performer. It helped me in being a person as well. And as far as being a performer in that, I got to play so many different roles and so many different lives in that movie, where I had multiple different flashbacks where I was a rich guy's assistant, kind of, you know, writing for them. And then I was in the military and we were at war. And then, you know, flash forward later, I'm making this movie as a director and making the movie, and people are chasing me, trying to kill me. And so there's all of these different elements to it that helped me to be able to play all of these things, but there was still the through line of me that was in there. So that was a lot of fun to be able to craft that together.
How much preparation do you have to go through in order to really capture these different characters?
I think it just depends. That one I didn't have as much time to go through at first, because I got booked on the role as we were filming the feature film called Second Chance that Kelsey wrote. So we were filming Second Chance, and I think we were about a week in. It took us 15 days to film it. We're about a week in, and I heard from the director that he wanted me in the film. And so then I get another 100-page script. And so I'm on set of Second Chance, and I'm in between my downtime when I'm not in the scene, you know, where we were eating lunch, and I'm trying to memorize these lines and understand this character and break down these different things. And so I think it just depends on the character, though. That character, a lot of the things that were in there were things that I could easily relate to, and different things that I've played before, or things that I could draw in from different experiences. And so that's helped. I think that helped a lot.
Now, as a producer, what do you look for in a script or project before deciding to get involved?
So as a producer, we really only just produce our own stuff. And mainly that's because we see roles or we see stories that we either want to play as an actor in the role, or a story that we want to tell. And basically your only options there are either if you want to act in a story or you want to act in a role, and you see that role that somebody else is making in the movie, well, now you have to get cast in their movie and hope that they like you, and do all those things to be able to play that role. Or you can just make it and play that role if you want to. And as far as telling the story, the same idea. if you have a story that you want to tell, either you can wait for somebody to come along and tell that story, hopefully, or you can just do it yourself and make the story happen.
I think I do opt to just create your own. That's what I started doing too. And how do you balance creative expression with the business side of the film industry?
I think it goes hand in hand with it. I think a lot of people think that, oh, you're an actor, it's has nothing to do with business side, but it is. There's the business of acting, and there's the business of filmmaking. So with, say, for Second Chance, for example, the feature film that we did, there was about 6 months of preparation where we were building sets, we were getting locations, we were hiring actors, hiring crew, refining the script, doing all of those things. There was a couple weeks of acting preparation, and then there was 2 weeks of acting. And then after that 2 weeks of acting, it was about 9 months or 10 months of the post-production, where we go through the edit, find the music, find the composers, make sure that we like everything that's going into it. Then after all of that, it was finding the distribution company or trying to sell it to a network directly. And so I think that if we only look at it as acting, that's just such a small portion of it. But there's so much more that goes into it. And if you can start to learn to enjoy those things, then you'll be able to start creating those futures for yourself too, I think.
Now, if you could work with any director or actor or writer, past or present, who would it be and why?
It's funny. I was actually asked this question on my friend Miosha asked me this question, and
yeah,
one of the people who I said I would really like to work with, I have two, but one of the people I really like to work with is Jake Gyllenhaal. I've always liked his work. I like his performances, his mindset on the way that he thinks about acting, and Denzel Washington, because Denzel's a GOAT, and he's been around forever. He's Christian, and I feel like he would be such just a source of just incredible information that you wouldn't even have to say anything, but you just being around him, you would soak in so much. Just seeing him work, you would be able to see so much that he's doing and giving and bringing that, I think that would be an incredible experience.
Yeah. What story or genre haven't tackled yet but are eager to explore in the future?
That I haven't tackled yet. I haven't really done comedy. Maybe a little bit, but it's also not something that I really look forward to. Like I don't want to necessarily.
You're not funny.
Comedy. But however, if there was a comedic role, like, what was the movie called? Spy. The movie was called Spy, and Jason Statham played the role, and he played the role like he plays every role as far as, like a hardcore guy. And he played in that movie that exact way, and it was hilarious. I loved him in it. So I think things like that I would enjoy, being able to play the action person in a comedy movie. And because I know comedy is very, very technical. It takes a lot of work, a lot of knowing exactly how to say things or when to say them or to bring those things. And for me, I find more joy and I find more inspiration in playing dramatic roles and playing the action. And what I really, really want to do is I really want to do a full war film, and I really want to do a full fight film, like either boxing or MMA. And I've done shorts of both of those, but I would really like to do a whole feature of not necessarily the same one, but that would be cool if it was boxing and war. But
yeah.
Hi
Boots. What? Let's talk about the God Keep and what the origins of that. You said that it's a co-collaboration and you guys already monetized and you're making two shorts in a week.
Mm-hmm.
What's that schedule look like? Do you have a stack of scripts that you've already written and you're just going to filter through them? Are you using the same actors? Are you guys casting new people? I know it looks like it was filmed in LA because it's always sunny over there. So that was the giveaway. I'm like, doesn't look great to me.
You're like, not here.
What's the future of that project for you?
So yes, we do. We had originally had a stack of scripts. We are constantly writing new scripts. I wrote a script this morning. I'm working on a feature that we're going to do there as well. As right now, I'm also constantly trying to write new scripts. So I'll try to write between 2 to 3 scripts a week, or depending on the length of them. We're making them a little bit longer now. So our episodes we originally started, it was about 7 to 10 minutes. So between 7 to 10 pages or a little bit more. And now we're getting up to 20 to 30 pages. And so they're, taking a little bit longer, but I'm still able to write most of those within a day or two. And one of our other producers on it, she's starting to write as well. And so it's helpful we have a couple writers. We use a lot of the same actors because we film in a very specific style. We do things very quickly. We'll go through a 15 to 20 page script and we'll film that within 2-3 hours maybe. And if you've seen it, a lot of the times, most of our stuff, if we have a couple different formats, the bench episodes which we call them the bench, where people just sitting on a bench having a conversation. Those ones are normally filmed in about 2 hours, but it's, a wide shot and then 2 close-up shots. So we're not getting too crazy with the camera or anything, but it's something that's replicatable, something that we can continue to keep doing. And then we have our short films as well, which those are more normal short films. We're having different angles, different locations. But, we're still doing those pretty quickly as well, shooting those within like 2 days. And then so our format is we'll have the bench episodes, the short films, and then we're also making feature films. We have 1 feature film out. I'm writing another one, and then we're going to create also a third coming up as well. And so, yeah, so the group of actors that we use a lot, we have a big text thread with all of our actors, and we'll just ask a date, who's available, and then we'll send them the script and work on it. We'll do virtual table reads with them, and then make sure everybody's off book and get going from there. We are also trying to bring in more actors, so that way, because we're filming so often and it is a lot to memorize, we want to make sure to be able to give our actors the time to do that and the ability. So we want to bring in and start, bringing in a little bit more people. We had a meeting yesterday with 20 potential new people that want to join us as well. And
Wow.
One of the benefits of LA, right? So
Yeah, I mean, you just reach out and go, "You're an actor, right?" Or like, "Yeah. What do you need?"
Yep.
What? So, why do you think you got monetized so fast?
We built a lot of stuff before we started going. We tried to build it as a business opposed to just pushing it out as a YouTube channel. So, we built a brand, we had a website, we had a logo. We were trying to do all of the things first to try to get that base. And then one of the things that's helping is consistently making new projects and being consistent on YouTube. So that way it started growing. We were pushing a lot through our direct social medias, through different platforms to try to get other people to watch it, to subscribe. One of the benefits is we have more actors coming in. And so with more actors coming in, you also have their network as well that they want to share their work with. So once they share their work, it brings more people in. But then once we hit 500 subscribers, I think YouTube started to really notice us as well and started pushing our films more. And since we're consistently putting things out, they're consistently pushing us. And so we went from 500 to 2,500 in like a week.
Holy smokes!
Yeah. And
Well,
so
that's awesome. Let's ride that algorithm.
Yep. Yeah. That's what a lot of it's what we're trying to do too, is understand what the algorithm likes. It likes a lot of consistency, different things like that. There's so much to learn just on YouTube that's outside of filmmaking that thankfully my partner, he had already monetized a couple channels on YouTube and was able to say, okay, these are some of the steps that we need to take. And now we're growing and need to keep learning. And every week we're on the phone pretty much all the time. Where there's three of us that do this together, and we're on the phone all the time, trying to figure things out and keep growing.
What's the common theme with the God Keep? What does that mean? And for people who are not faith-based, like what can they get out of it? Obviously, we know the people who are faith-based what they can get out of it. But what does it really boil down to in today's society and the way we're looking at things? Besides politics, I'm not going to get into politics, but I want to talk about humans, our spirituality, who we are. What is the main message?
So the main message is hope. Is that we can find hope in God, and the God keep. What that means is that God will keep you, and so he'll take care of you. And so like you said, for Christians or people of faith, you kind of have an idea of what you're going to get. But for a secular audience, what we really wanted to do, and what I really wanted to do in writing the stories, is tell something that's real, something that's relatable, something that can happen. And they're not necessarily all real stories, but they're all real situations that could happen. And so we wanted to use those situations and be able to show it in an interesting way, in a narrative way of, okay, well, this is what you can do in this situation, and you can look to God, and God will help you, and you can find hope there. And so that's at the end of it, is we really want to bring Christian values to America, and just bring those Christian values to people. And we think that through the industry that we've all been placed in, this was the best way that we could do it.
Yeah, 100%. I think, growing up in a faith-based household, being a Christian myself, I think there's things that I look at the world and society and entertainment, and then you look at, I've seen some really corny Christian films growing up. And now that I have a chance to go, okay, how can I make it more interesting? How do I make it more fulfilling? How do I make it, I think the word preachy is what a lot of people would say, right? When you look at Christian films. But I think one of the perfect examples was Nefarious.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago, but yes.
That blew my mind. I was like, okay, we got to do that.
Yep.
Because it gets attention. Obviously, they were kind of poo-pooed and all that, knowing that it was faith-based. But I think, what in your perception, how do you bring just a wholeness, a wholesomeness to the society that we've come to kind of live in and grow up in? How do we change that, and how do we make something that's fulfilling?
Well, I agree with you fully. I watched those same Christian movies growing up and being like, wait, how is God giving Christians talent, and this is what we come up with? And like, this just doesn't make sense to me. And then there's these other movies that are secular movies, and these things are freaking awesome. So that was one of the main reasons why I wanted to start telling Christian stories, is to be able to tell it in not such a preachy way and not such a cheesy way. And then I started writing and said, this is really hard. This is really hard to not be preachy. And so I get it. Like, I get why they were doing those things. To be able to try to tell the message in a way that's not like, throwing it in your face. And so I think, for me, I think one of the things that really helps is just being open and, understanding that there's all different types of stories. And sorry, I'm drinking a bunch of soda water. And even within our churches or our communities or things like that, like, nobody's perfect. There's so much brokenness and there's so much hurt inside of these places and inside of the people. There's a song by Jelly Roll where he says, I find God more with broken people than I do inside the walls of a church. And I don't think those lyrics are exactly right, but it's something similar to that where, I think that's where I get a lot of the ideas too, is we're broken people. And so if we can tell the stories of broken people and use that brokenness to point people to God for hope, or to find a source of love, or to find what they're looking for, then I think that's where we'll really start to find those things of not being so cheesy or not being so preachy. And I know probably some of my episodes that I've written are probably preachy, or people will look at it as preachy, but I'm trying. I'm working on it.
What kind of advice would you give to aspiring actors or filmmakers looking to carve out their own path in the industry?
I think the best advice that I could give is to just try it. I think one of the greatest things you can do is fail. And the reason why is because if you fail, then you understand what didn't work. But if you never try something and you never fail, you're never going to know what works or what doesn't work or what you like or don't like. And so if you say, oh man, this would be really cool, I want to do this, but you never even take a step to do it, one, you don't even know if you're going to enjoy that. And so if you were there doing that thing, but you never took steps to get there, you just all of a sudden got it, you were like, I actually don't like this. This sucks. Why am I here? Why am I doing this? But if you take the steps to get there, you get to experience that, you get to grow, you get to learn along the way. And so I think that goes for acting and filmmaking is it's just go out and do it. If you have an idea, go do it. If you want to be an actor, go be an actor. You don't have to do anything special. Just go start doing it. Find a group of people that I guarantee you can find other people around you, or go to a film school and find people at the film school. Say, hey, I want to play this role, or I want to be in a movie, or I want to learn camera. I want whatever it may be. Just find people. They're all around. There's a lot of creative people around. A lot of creative people are doing the same thing, wanting to be able to do something, but kind of stuck in this, well, I don't know what to do. And so if you walk up to that person that doesn't know what to do, they're like, actually, I've been wanting to do that. Yeah, let's go. And so your motivation can help other people's too.
What would you say is the most constructive criticism that you've ever received in your career?
As far as an actor, one of my friends had told me before, he goes, I really like what you're doing, but I see it too much. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And it went back to, don't let them catch you acting. And he goes, you just need to bring that in deeper. And he's not even an actor, just somebody that I grew up with. He goes, you need to bring it in deeper so that way you're feeling it in here instead of just emoting it out here. And so
wow,
that has been very, very helpful. And then also the other thing is, I don't necessarily know if it was constructive criticism or just learning, but learning emotional intelligence. So learning and understanding what emotions feel like and actually feeling those things, opposed to just saying, oh, I'm mad and this is what mad looks like, or whatever it is, even that, so
I'm going to be the Hulk.
Yeah, exactly. When you feel those things, allow yourself to feel them and then experience that feeling and start to understand and say, okay, this is, I'm mad, but it's, it's coming off as sadness, or I'm crying because it's so devastating to me, but the underneath the core of it is anger, or the underneath core of it is sadness and it's coming off as anger. I think starting to understand those emotional cues and the emotional intelligence has helped a lot.
I agree. I think it's the thing I've noticed in myself is don't push it so hard. Let it just come out.
Yeah.
And I think that's happened a couple times where, there'll be a scene and I'm realizing I'm just kind of raising and throwing my voice. And then there'll be a time where I just relax and it just comes out.
Yeah.
And it's more heartfelt and emotional. And you're like, oh, where'd that come from?
Right.
Oh, I can act.
Like, you got that, right? You took that, right? I don't know if I can do that again.
No, my wife goes, do that.
Yeah.
She goes, do that next time. Okay. What genre would your life be if someone were to direct a film about you?
A dramedy.
A dramedy?
Yeah. I got two wild kids, so it'd definitely be a dramedy.
We're going to talk about that too in a second here. What is there anything that you're working on now or in the near future?
Right now, the main thing that I've been working on is the God Keep series that's been taking a lot of my time, and God is giving me the time to do it, which I think is, it's hard because, I want to be acting and I want to be doing more film things, but at the same time, it's really good because I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I do have a film that I'm going to be doing coming up in San Francisco. And so that's a sci-fi film. And that one I'm really looking forward to that one. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And then we're also, with my team that I made Runaway with, we're creating another film, a short film, and we're trying to film that one here in Seattle. And then we also have a series that we're going to be making after that.
Okay, now that you've had both sides of the camera, You've been in front, you've been behind. What is your favorite filmmaking tech?
Tech, like technology.
Yeah. People
Um,
ask me that. What else would tech be?
oh, I wasn't sure if you said tick. And I'm like a tick.
No.
The filmmaking tick.
Yeah, your favorite tick? Come on. Yeah, when I act this way, I'll have this little tick.
Right, yeah.
No,
I was like,
technology,
I'm not sure.
tech.
The one thing that I think is super cool is the inflatable lights.
Oh yeah, I haven't tried those yet.
They're super cool. The first time I saw it, I was on the set in LA and we had this massive house that they were trying to light up. It was a mansion or something, and they were trying to light the stairs. And I look up and there's these balloon lights, and they looked like um, blimps, but they were just lit up. And so when I talked to the lighting crew, I was like, "What is this? This is incredible!" So yeah, they just filled them with helium and sent them up to the ceiling, tied them in, and they were able to
Oh, they put
maneuver
them
and
in
everything.
helium.
Super.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And the nice thing is they diffuse light so much easier and better because they're
Yeah.
balloons.
And
Yeah.
I don't know a whole lot about lighting. I don't know a lot about that stuff, but just that tech to me is really cool. And they're lightweight. So,
Yeah.
Instead of having to bring a crane in and throw these lights up or climb up there and do that, they were able to use those. I think they're extremely expensive and not very versatile. So hopefully they'll get better and better. But again, I don't really know much about it other than looking at it and saying, "Ooh, that's cool."
I've seen inflatable lights, but I never heard of anyone filling it up with helium, and that's a great idea.
Well, I may have made that up.
Wait a minute. Isn't helium flammable?
I may have made that up. Maybe they didn't fill it with helium, and I thought they did it. But it was an overnight shoot. I don't know.
That's why I'm like, wait a second. Isn't helium flammable? No, it can't be flammable. People suck it in and change their voice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Google will know.
Yeah. So from one dad to the next, let's talk about this because you have kids. Are your kids getting into filmmaking as well?
My kids have been in the industry since they were in utero. So they were both baby models, 3D baby models for Philips ultrasound, and which was cool. We got free 3D ultrasounds.
Yeah.
And then Paxton, my youngest first job, he was maybe a month old, and he slept in the stroller the whole time. And our older son has been in probably the same since he was in utero too, but since he was born, he's done things with us. He's created with us, been in short films. He was director's callback for multiple different big projects, one with Fox, one with Blumhouse. He does
Blumhouse.
Yeah, that was fun. We flew down for that director's callback, which was really cool. And so yeah, and like he's been in it too. He enjoys it as well. Then he creates with us. They were both in the feature film that Kelsey wrote, Second Chance. So they were in that with us, and the commercial work. We do a lot of commercial work as a family, as a mixed race family. That it helps a lot in the commercial world. That it's more we're castable.
So then, looking at that aspect, how do you feel about AI?
I think AI is inevitable. As we see, it's just going to keep coming and coming. I think one of the things that I want to learn how to do is to be able to integrate it, because it's not something that we're going to be able to stop, I don't think. And but I also hope that our unions and our films and our networks also protect the actors and protect the different industries, because those industries, each one of them, from writers to editors to colorists to acting to filming to all of these things, we want to be able to keep our jobs. We want to be able to still work in this industry and still make things. And so I hope that audiences as well will prefer real made things opposed to AI made things. And since it is inevitable, I think, we're going to start seeing more blending of those things. But at the same time, I'm hoping that we can use it as something to elevate our projects. So, having the scene and being able to use AI with it to create so much more for less money. So that way we can still make these things and still make cool things. But yeah, I want to keep my job.
Curtis, thank you so much for being on the Downing Cut. What's the best way people can reach you?
Thank you for having me. I think the best way to reach me is probably my Instagram, and that is curtis.mcgann.
All right. McGann. That's how you say it. McGann. All right, Curtis. And we will link everything in the show notes, and we'll see everyone in the next